Everybody loves dogs, man. I love their little wet noses and their articulated eyebrows. Oh yeah, and I also love elder giants with 1,000 mouths. Fresh out of March of the Machine and $1 out of your packs, we got Kroxa and Kunoros, and they present us with an interesting mardu reanimator shell. It can also be built into a really decent combo machine. Let's talk about this unlikely pairing, but before we do, make sure you boop the subscribe button. If you don't subscribe, how the heck are you supposed to know what you're doing with the next combo machine, dude? Alright, check this out. We got Kroxa and Kunoros. 3 red, white, and black for a legendary creature, Elder Giant Dog. It's a 6/6 with Vigilance, Menace, and Lifelink. Whenever Kroxa and Kunoros enters the battlefield or attacks, you may exile 5 cards from your graveyard. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I definitely prefer the constellation art for this card. I always thought that constellations, that was kind of a weird way of looking up at the stars anyway. Like, oh yeah man, hey, that's Orion's belt up there. And the ancient Greek dude sitting next to him was like, what are you talking about, dude? Did you eat some mushrooms in the forest, or what are you up to? It's like, no, see that over there? It's a belt. That sounds like the last thing someone says before they run off naked into a mall parking lot. Anyways, this can be a sweet mardu reanimator shell if you want to build it fair, but we don't want to build it fair, dude. That's for chumps. What we want to do is combo this with Altar of Dementia. Alright, listen, this works because the last ability on Kroxa and Kunoros triggers and goes on the stack without a target. This is from their rulings. If you exile 5 cards from your graveyard, the second reflexive triggered ability will trigger. You'll choose target creature card for that second ability at that time. So this is a 2-card combo that goes like this. Cast Kroxa and Kunoros either from your hand or from the command zone by paying its commander costs and tax if applicable. When it enters the battlefield, it triggers. Holding priority, activate Altar of Dementia by sacrificing Kroxa and Kunoros, causing you to mill cards equal to Kroxa and Kunoros' power. Resolve the Kroxa and Kunoros trigger, causing you to exile 5 other cards from your graveyard and return Kroxa and Kunoros from your graveyard to the battlefield. Repeat from step 2. So basically you're getting 6 cards plus our commander in the graveyard. You're going to exile 5 of those cards, then return Kroxa to the battlefield. It's a 2-card combo, right? But what the heck do we do now? We have no cards in our library. We can only do this 14 times or so we can't repeat infinitely. So aristocrat effects like Zulukapor Cutthroat will only ping everybody 14 times or so. But what if we get the old Karmic Guide and Revel Yark in the graveyard? Then we can pay off all that Altar of Dementia mill to mill everybody else out. Also works with Felidar Guardian and Karmic Guide, or Kiki-Jiki and Karmic Guide. Kiki-Jiki combos with everything, but you can activate it by tapping it, targeting Karmic Guide. Holding priority, you activate Altar of Dementia, sacrificing Kiki-Jiki, causing target player to mill cards equal to Kiki-Jiki's power. Resolve the Kiki-Jiki ability, creating a token of Karmic Guide with haste. The Karmic Guide token enters the battlefield, returning Kiki-Jiki from your graveyard to the battlefield. Repeat. Kiki-Jiki can also just combo with Felidar Guardian as well if you want to go nuts with that. This also works with Sun Titan, Karmic Guide, and Animate Dead. You cast the Sun Titan, it enters the battlefield, return Animate Dead from your graveyard to the battlefield. With Animate Dead trigger on the stack, activate Altar of Dementia, sacrificing Sun Titan to mill target player 6. Resolve the Animate Dead trigger, causing it to become an aura with enchant creature put onto the battlefield with Animate Dead, and returning Karmic Guide from your graveyard to the battlefield. But Animate Dead is put into your graveyard due to state-based actions, as it cannot attach to a creature with protection from black. Animate Dead triggers, causing you to sacrifice Karmic Guide. Karmic Guides enter the battlefield, effect triggers. Resolve Karmic Guides enter the battlefield trigger, returning Sun Titan from your graveyard to the battlefield. Repeat from step 2. Another key creature for looping and your opponent's scooping is Abdel Adrian, Gorian's Ward. What the heck is up with these names? 4 and a white for a legendary creature, human warrior. It's a 4/4. When this guy enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until he leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each permanent exiled this way. Look at Mr. Handsome over here with his tiny sword, dude. The most handsome guys usually have the tiniest swords. Anyways, this guy interacts uniquely with the aforementioned Animate Dead and Necromancy. If you can get him in the graveyard, you can cast Animate Dead, return Abdel from your graveyard to the battlefield, attaching Animate Dead to it. This guy enters the battlefield, exiling Animate Dead until he leaves the battlefield and creating a 1/1 soldier creature token. Animate Dead triggers, causing you to sacrifice this guy. Animate Dead returns to the battlefield, returning Abdel Adrian from your graveyard to the battlefield and attaching Animate Dead to it. Repeat from step 2, you get infinite tokens, infinite ATB, infinite LTB. And Necromancy is an alternative to Animate Dead and can actually be cast at instant speed. Doesn't really matter if we have to sacrifice it at the end step, we've already created infinite tokens. This guy also works with Karmic Guide and a sacrifice outlet. Alright, since we're including Animate Dead and Necromancy, take a look at who just got a reprint and is under $1. The old World Gorger Dragon, yeah. 3 red for a creature Nightmare Dragon. It's a 7/7 with flying and tramp stamps. When it enters the battlefield, exile all other permanents you control. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exiled cards to the battlefield under their owner's control. I like the old art with the weird hands and the tail with the little mouth on it, dude. Such a sweet card. Anyways, combos with Animate Dead or Necromancy for infinite mana, ETB, and LTB. You cast Animate Dead. Animate Dead enters the battlefield, returning World Gorger Dragon from your graveyard to the battlefield attached with Animate Dead. World Gorger Dragon enters the battlefield, exiling all other permanents you control. Animate Dead triggers, sacrificing World Gorger. World Gorger Dragon leaves the battlefield, returning all permanents exiled by it to the battlefield. Animate Dead enters the battlefield, returning World Gorger Dragon from your graveyard to the battlefield attached with Animate Dead. Holding priority, activate all lands you control by tapping those, adding mana of any colors those lands can produce, and then repeat. Now you're going to want some self-mill, and Stitcher Supplier is the world's most efficient self-mill creature. It's 1 black mana for a creature zombie. It's a 1/1. When it enters the battlefield or dies, mill 3 cards. And she says, I'm here to talk to you about this head that I found. Well anyways, this combos with Phyrexian Altar or Culling the Weak and Underworld Breach. This is another excellent way to get your combo pieces in the graveyard and generate infinite mana. The infinite mana only works with Culling of the Weak though. The Phyrexian Altar alternative is mana neutral. And another redundant piece is our old buddy the Fiend Hunter. This with a sacrifice outlet and one of our other reanimator effects gets infinite whatever. In these colors you can also have Goblin Bombardment. You can sub in for any of the altars for infinite damage. And another slightly less efficient, redundant piece for Karmic Guide is Sister Hospitalier. This is such a silly card. Check out the art on this thing. She's bringing this lady back to life, whether she wants to come back to life or not, dude. Warhammer 40k is such a crazy universe, man. It's just like a nun with a sweet backpack. Card selection and card velocity is key in a combo deck like this. You have cards like Faithless Looting. Cards like it can get key cards into the graveyard. White, red, and black are the best color out there for tutoring artifacts. I won't belabor the point, but if you have a demonic tutor and a lightened tutor, stick them on in there. You also have cards like Entomb and Unmarked Grave to get key combo pieces into the graveyard. Now this is just a little PSA, but remember Diabolic Intent is currently $5 after a recent reprint. This card was $40 for a while, dude, so if you don't have a copy, I mean, I don't know, man, maybe pick one up. You also want to include a few ways to get your key combo pieces out of the graveyard. You have cards like Scrap Trawler, Junk Diver. They're going to do the job nicely. And we're running a fair amount of sacrifice outlets. Of course, you can also pack in Goblin Welder, Duretti Scrap Savant. These can get Altar of Dementia back as well if it ends up in the graveyard, but we kind of need a critical mass of artifacts to begin with. But listen, man, this is EDH. We're running Mana Rocks, various recursion cards, and maybe think about our next guy here. You got the old Oswald Fittlebender. This guy's straight out of Lord of the Rings, dude. He's one of the hobbits that didn't make it out of Mordor. It's 1 and a white for a legendary creature, Gnome Artificer. It's a 2/2. It's got magical tinkering. Of course he does. As white and tap, sacrifice an artifact, search your library for an artifact card with mana value equal to 1 plus the sacrifice artifact's mana value. Put it onto the battlefield and shuffle, activate only as a sorcery. This guy is good if we're running a fair amount of 1 mana artifacts to chain into Altar of Dementia and combo off. Now listen, I went on a deep dive and read some primers on Moxfield CDH primers on this, and I ran into Hoarding Broodlord and Saw in Half. Basically, you go get whatever combo pieces you need and convoke them out. Hoarding Broodlord is a really interesting card, great reanimator target. It's 5 black for a creature dragon. It's a 7/6 with convoke and flying. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it. Spells you cast from exile have convoke. So this guy enters and you exile Saw in Half. You saw the Hoarding Broodlord in half, dude. Once you saw it in half, you can tutor up Burnt Offering to get the mana you need to cast whatever nefarious combo piece you find with the second Hoarding Broodlord trigger. Burnt Offering is the Wicker Man, dude. You basically sack the Hoarding Broodlord copy, you add 8 mana in any combination of black and red mana. Keep in mind you can just convoke this out by tapping the Hoarding Broodlord Saw in Half copy anyways. Lots of combo lines in these colors, folks. Anyways, if you want to play fair magic, you have a sweet self-mill reanimator combo commander. And if you want to be a jerk and combo off, check out some of the CDH primers on Moxfield, dude. There's a wealth of information there, a lot of great builders. This is one of those commanders you can kind of tailor to the level you want to play at in your play group. So anyways, have fun out there. Don't be mean to each other. Be nice to each other, dudes. Sneaky G from Better Commander signing off.